Welcome everybody to our featured author video series. Today we have the pleasure of meeting Margot Denemy for our July featured author. So, hi Margot.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
We're so happy to have you. So first, let's just jump right in and why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are and the books you've written?
Yeah, for sure. So I have practiced criminal law for over 20 years. And so I've seen the results of low self-esteem in courts and the consequences that have resulted due to the self-esteem issues. And at the same time, when I was working, I was also raising two young daughters, and I started to realize how inundated they were with photoshopped images of movie stars. And so they were starting to compare themselves to these people that, quite frankly, didn't even exist. So I know, our time with our children, especially when we get home from work and everything's so busy, it's such a critical time. I thought, wouldn't it be nice to create some type of vehicle to create a dialogue with parents and children to teach them that true beauty comes from within. So at the same time, my daughters were taking art lessons. So I started to incorporate their artwork into a story that I wanted to tell children. So with that, my first book I wrote is called Mommy Am I Pretty? And it is about a little girl who goes to school, and her best friend asks if she's pretty. Molly says yes, but she really doesn't understand what pretty means. So on her walk home, she starts a dialogue with her mother about what pretty means. So, and examples such as being kind and developing a passion and helping, when I go to schools, so, I started from Mommy Am I Pretty? It became a school discussion. I started to attend schools, and I call it my Celebrate You tour, because that's exactly what I do with the children. We celebrate our own unique qualities. So it's been a lot of fun. And after every school visit, I was always asked, when are you going to do a boys book? So right before COVID, I wrote Awesome Inside and Out. And it is just a more inclusive book with the similar messages. To date, I've been to over 100 schools in both Canada and the United States sharing this message. And especially, I think, with the result of, children's mental health being so impacted during COVID, these messages are more important than ever. And when I speak with groups, both children and adults, I first educate the children about photoshopped images of movie stars that they would recognize. And I really stress the importance with them about the importance of first of all, understanding that these people don't look like they do in a magazine, and that they have been digitally altered. As you know, the Dove Self-Esteem Fund has a real beauty campaign that really emphasizes this. In fact, the Dove Self-Esteem Fund has endorsed Mommy Am I Pretty and called it a must read. So that was a real coup early in my publishing experience.
No doubt, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and that leads me to my next question is, what was your publishing experience like? So you had this great idea, you wrote your story, you have this artwork. What happened next? Like, how did the book actually become to be a physical thing that you can share?
Well, because I still work full-time in the criminal justice system, it was a part-time job that I was trying to navigate, because publishing is not straightforward. Even when you go online and you see all the self-publishing companies, there are hundreds of them. And what I knew for sure was that I wanted a high quality book, because I personally love that children can hold on to a book. They can they can really hold it in their hands. So I really wanted that. I knew exactly the way I wanted it to look. So by sheer fluke, I happened to meet a wonderful editor, and she had just finished working with a big publishing company, and she was going on her own to help self-published authors. So she edited my book, and she introduced me to a fabulous graphic designer, and she lives in Kelowna, BC, Alex from Clear Design. And honestly, the book has just took life, and it has been incredible. I urge anybody who has an idea or a book percolating in their mind to go for it, because I've never looked back, and it has just created an incredible journey for me.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad that we here at NCPL can be part of that journey. And we have your books in our collection. Why don't you share how people can get a hold of your book outside of borrowing it from their local library, of course?
Yeah. Well, both of my books are on Amazon, both in Canada and the United States. And recently, I have connected with a social emotional learning app, and they're located out of the US, but they have incorporated both of my books and the messaging and the lessons that are included in the books. And I will read them, a few of those lessons in a minute, but they are based out of New Hampshire. It is called the Kokori app, and especially for educators. I know that a lot of educators might be watching, and it is just amazing the number of programs and activities that they have in this app that facilitate great fun for kids. So, but Amazon.ca and Amazon.com.
Awesome. And do you have a website as well?
I do. My website is CelebrateYouInsideOut.com. And that has a lot of information, and as well as my email where anyone can locate me for any type of reading. I'm always keen to do those and spread this message, because I think it is so important.
I think it's so important, and I'm so inspired by everything you've been doing and sharing with schools, communities, and now libraries. Speaking of libraries, you personally, as a human being on this planet Earth, how have public libraries played a role in your life?
Oh, honestly, I was so fortunate. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, and 10 houses down was a public library. So ever since I could walk, I think I would go to the library. I would always spend my time in the library just looking at books. Books have always been a very big part of my life. So I'm just so pleased that they're still around and as active as they are. And I know that my books are in many throughout Ontario because of the library conferences and speaking to people like yourself. So I'm really appreciative of that.
That's great. Well, if you want to take over for a couple of minutes, I'd love for you to share some of your books or anything you want to share, really. I'll hand it over to you.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So what I'll do is I will just share my screen. So as I indicated, Molly's mother explains to Molly what being pretty really means, as well as being kind, developing passion, positive affirmations, making mistakes and acknowledging that that's okay, that's the way we learn. And ultimately, her mother says, remember, Molly, the way you look on the outside has nothing to do with who you are on the inside. Pretty comes from a person's heart. It doesn't matter where you live, the color of your skin, or what language you speak, because what pretty really means is the same everywhere. It's what's in your heart that makes you pretty. It doesn't matter whether you are short, tall, big, or small. Always remember, when you walk into a room, you have the power to light it up with your smile. And by the time she got home, Molly realized it was more important to be a kind, positive, brave person who has passion than to worry about what she looked like on the outside. Molly felt ready to reach for the stars. So honestly, it has been just so fabulous to see the response that children give me after I've read the book and I speak to them about the important messages in the book. To date, the highlight has definitely been after I finished the book, a little girl came up and she said, I just really want to thank you for writing this book because I've never felt that I was pretty. But now that you've taken the time to explain to me what pretty means, I think I might be. And I just want to give you a hug. At that moment, I just melted. Personally, I think that our children are being so inundated, boys and girls, about what is expected of them. And all of these societal pressures and social media and everything is impacting them, but we are not providing them, in my humble opinion, we are not providing them the tools to deal with it. So that's why I think it's important. That's why I love to get out. I love to share the messages in my book because I feel like it provides another avenue. It provides another way that they can look at the words pretty, beautiful, handsome. And I always say to the boys, look, this is just as important a message for boys. I said it's pink and it's called Mommy Am I Pretty because I wrote it with my girls. But you too can be kind. You too can develop passions and positive affirmations. And it really centers around the 6 factors that have been proven to boost self-esteem for boys and girls, and more inclusive than that. And again, Awesome Inside Note addresses that in a more inclusive manner as well. Honestly, because word is getting around, and it's only through word of mouth that my Celebrate You workshops have been really catching on. And I have been being contacted by a great number of schools to date so that I can go and share these important messages. So I am thrilled about that. And so I invite anyone who is interested in getting in touch with me for a virtual reading or an in-person reading. I really am passionate about sharing the messages, and I am prepared to continue to bring my Celebrate You workshop to any school that will have me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you featuring me today.
Thank you so much. And, we might even have a Celebrate You workshop right here at the Norfolk County Public Library. I would love that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's start
working. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks too.